The Trump supporters were in on Friday, and now they're in full capacity here this morning. Andrew, you might have to move and let them all. I mean, can they crowd you? Yeah, because Tim Trent's got a filing cabinet he's bringing in with him, all the paperwork, the documents. Squeeze as tight as you can on in here, guys. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
So this is your. So did you guys have your rally? You had a rally on Friday. This was an immigration rally. Is that?
No.
Okay.
Involved in that.
You weren't involved. There a lot of people showed up for that immigration rally, that refugee rally. A lot of people in support, but you guys. But you're saying
It's good to get people involved and
it is.
Yeah.
Immigration is hurting the area. Is what your statement is.
Well, there are benefits and there are burdens.
Okay.
And we keep hearing about the benefits, but we seldom hear about the burdens. And to just kind of sketch the background in, the Mohawk Valley.
I would ask you right off the bat, though, do the burdens outweigh the benefits? And is that what your group is saying?
I'm not sure they outweigh, but they're being ignored, and they may outweigh. It's time for the Refugee Center to do some things differently than they have done in the past.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, they're the Mohawk Valley Resource Center for Refugees.
So without getting it, I really want to cut right to the chase here. I know you have a lot of paperwork there, but throw me some figures. Why you feel that this is...
I'm giving you some figures right here.
Okay.
The Refugee Center crams 400 to 500 more homeless refugees on top of 40% of people living in poverty in Utica's poorest neighborhoods. We've got 40% poverty in West Utica, in Cornhill, and certain portions of East Utica. The Refugee Center is putting 400 to 500 more homeless and destitute refugees on top of that. That's creating a massive poverty situation in Utica. And the United Way and Assemblyman Brindisi recently launched an initiative to reduce poverty in Utica. Time for the Mohawk Valley Resource Center for Refugees to live up to its name, start resettling refugees across the entire Mohawk Valley from Schenectady to Rome, not just in 2 or 3 of Utica's poorest neighborhoods.
And where do you get your numbers, though? The fact that these people are in poverty, or these people are not productive members, or they don't become. Where are you getting your numbers from?
A lot of these people don't even speak English, especially the kids, and that's the burden on the school district.
Right.
And here's another statistic: 300 refugees are now bused daily from Utica to jobs in Chobani Yogurt. That's 1/3 of Chobani's workforce. Those refugees should be resettled into Norwich or New Berlin, which is closer to their workplace, not bused every day from Utica.
Why, though, would you not want them here?
Because we've got a poverty situation.
But they're working. They have jobs. They have decent paying jobs. Why wouldn't you want that money spent here?
But that's 300 out of the Refugee Center has brought.
But you just said those people shouldn't be here. Why would you not want those 300 people? Listen to this.
Yes.
Why would you not want those 300 people who are working a decent living? What a terrible example, Tim, you just used. These people are, let me finish. They're working a decent living wage. They're making good money at Chobani. They're bringing that money back into Utica, and you're using them as an example of people that you don't want in Utica. Why don't you want them? Because
we're spending money to bus them every day. What is the sense of busing 300 people every day to Norwich? It's ridiculous.
All right.
Bill, the other thing...
I still think it's a horrible example.
Well, maybe it's a horrible example, but it's still ridiculous to be busing 300 people every day to go to work in down near Norwich.
When you say we're busing, is that a public
He doesn't know. He doesn't
thing?
know the answer to that. Who pays for that? You know who's paying for that?
It's either Chobani or it's the Refugee Center.
Give me an answer. If you're going to criticize, you should know the answer to the question.
I don't know which one is
You're making assumptions here that you don't know the answer to. You
assumptions.
just did. You said somebody's paying for
I give
it.
you numbers, and you won't let you keep it.
Your numbers aren't real. That's part of the problem.
numbers are absolutely
You
real,
invited
Bill.
us here.
Did you know the answer to who's paying for that? Who's paying for those people to get down?
Talking.
Oh,
I'd like to continue.
Good, please.
The Mohawk Valley Resource Center for Refugees weakens Utica's education of the most vulnerable schools. Utica-born students from poverty-stricken households, school staff, school district finances, and school taxpayers are bearing the consequences of the Resource Center's resettlement practices. As more refugees arrive, Utica school enrollment goes up, class sizes go up, student-to-teacher ratios go up. Refugee students with weak English language skills pull down standardized test scores, and as a consequence, the New York State Education Department considers Martin Luther King and Kernan elementary schools to be underperforming. 1 out of every 5 Utica students is an English language learner. 1 out of 5. Substantial school staff and dollars now go into instruction for English language learners and other special refugee programs. Resources going to special refugee student programs could go for basic education for Utica-born students who need to work their way out of poverty. But resources are being diverted away from that.
So we're spending the money on those kids and not spending the money on kids who are born here. So what should we do? How do you solve this problem? Should we do testing and only take the immigrants and refugees who are going to do well in school?
We should
leave the ones who aren't as smart or not as...
We should distribute
them.
the refugee kids across the school districts all across the Mohawk Valley, many of which have resources that are more substantial than the Utica City schools to provide the programs these kids need.
Bill, we are the poorest school district in upstate New York, basically. And we are burdened with, and it is a burden right now, we've been sued. I mean, it's a fact. These are facts. We have been sued. Because we're not able to take care of the resources or use the resources that we have to educate these.
I want to bring.
But let me give you some of these statistics. Utica had this was an article was in I believe last year's OD. 1,609 refugee students in this Utica school district. When you compare Clinton, which had 17, New Hartford with 25, and some of the other school districts in the Mohawk Valley. Remember, this is the Mohawk Valley Mohawk Valley Resource Center.
Isn't there? Don't you feel though that there is a benefit to having these students become a part, and these families become a part of our community?
Yes, but there's a tipping point, and the tipping point has occurred. You see what's happening with the school district, and I was surprised. I thought we were going to have the school district represented here today, and the assembly.
I don't have anybody, but I do have Trin Trong, who is
a
former
smart young lady,
valedictorian, currently a junior.
Absolutely.
At Yale University, who is somebody that knows a little bit of something about this. Because here's one positive that we know of that came here. Trin, good morning. And
hi.
I'm assuming you've been listening along. And what are your thoughts and what's your take on this?
Okay, first of all, my mom works for Chobani, and so does my uncle and a lot of our family members. People are not bused in for free. People carpool an hour every morning, so that bus thing is a myth. We know a lot of refugees that work there. There are friends, there are families, there are neighbors. They work there. Second of all, the Mohawk Valley Resource Center for Refugees does not put in 400 to 500 destitute refugees every year. I have experience with them as a volunteer and intern. Everyone has homes as soon as they get here, and everyone is immediately learning English or put to work. And also, refugees and immigrants in New York State have a higher labor force participation at 65.4% than the total New York State rate of 63.5%. And where am I getting these numbers? The 2016 New York State Comptroller's Report on Immigration by Thomas DiNapoli.
Yeah, I actually pulled that up for this. Tim, you want to respond to that? Where'd the bus thing come from?
Population in poverty in West Utica, 1980, about the time period, a little bit after the refugee center had started, was 17%. 2010, 40% unemployment. Where are all the jobs? We cannot continue to
the
take
numbers
in this
that she
quantity of people.
But the numbers she just told you these are people
But
that
why are we at 40%? I know the numbers, but the numbers could lie. And if it's coming from the state of New York and government, it's a lie.
Can I ask Trent a question?
These are facts. 17% in 1980, 40% unemployment or poverty, not unemployment, poverty.
Yeah. So that would mean there
just West Utica.
There are jobs out there. I really believe there are jobs out there that some of these people just aren't taking. It's not like there's this gigantic unemployment going on around here.
So, Bill, I tend to disagree with you that. Look
sure
around. Where are the jobs? Really,
Trent,
where
can
are
I
the
ask you a
jobs
question?
for these people? And actually, these are actual numbers. 40% poverty.
Here's Jeff Manaski with a question for you, Trent.
Trent, when you say they come in and they're put to work, they talk about this employment hookup that happens. What do you know about it?
First of all, I have experience as a graduate of the Utica City School District, as a former refugee, as someone that's been involved in the fair funding lawsuits for the Utica City School District, as someone that's been involved in and very knowledgeable about the ACLU and the Attorney General lawsuits that were filed against Utica for discriminating against refugees. So I know about a lot of these things that we're talking about, a lot of the processes, and based on what I just heard about all these facts, they're just objectively wrong.
But Trent, hang on. We've gotten to that. We talked about that. Right. Can you talk about the employment end of it again? I got the impression from what you said that when folks come here in a short amount of time that they are able to, or I guess I don't want to say appointed, but are connected with some type of employment. What can you tell me about that?
Right. So a lot of the jobs that they take are jobs that like everyday working Americans wouldn't take anyway. These people are they're like childcare workers, they're like taxi drivers, they're construction laborers, they work in manufacturing factories, they work at the donut factory. These people are getting basic manufacturing jobs that are low wage, low entry. So they are a very vital part of our workforce.
Okay.
Okay. Again, 40% poverty. So where are all the jobs? We can't even employ the people that are already here in the Mohawk Valley.
That's not necessarily true.
Bill, we can't absorb all of this. There's 300 to
Hold
400
on,
refugees
but Jim,
a year coming in to an area that cannot afford it right now.
Okay.
We have to take care of the people that are living here that are poor.
If the people, though, you don't know for a fact that anybody that's living in poverty is unable to get a job versus not willing to get a job. You don't know the answer to that based on any numbers that you present there. Trent, go ahead.
Then why isn't there training for these people then? Why are we not training the people that need the jobs in our area that are unemployed? You look around the area, Bill. You know what's going on around here. We are in bad shape, and the school district is in bad shape.
Hold on, Trent, hold on.
And the burden is a tremendous burden.
Jim,
400. Wait. I really want to explain this. 18.2% of Utica's population was born outside of the United States. All of the other cities, Schenectady, Syracuse, was way below New York. Utica
based
has
on
taken
based on
the
percentage
burden.
of population.
Yeah, and Utica has taken on the burden. It needs to be spread out throughout the whole Mohawk Valley. To be fair, that's what needs to be done. The school district is getting burdened too much.
And to be honest with you, I don't believe that I think the Refugee Center has tried to spread people throughout the Mohawk Valley and other communities.
They have.
Where?
Okay.
Buffalo.
Oh, certainly throughout the state, yes. But what he's talking about is throughout the Mohawk Valley. But
it's the
and
Mohawk
not just
Valley Resource Center
for
refugees,
not
the
Utica.
West Utica Resource Center for refugees.
Okay.
They do put refugees in other cities. It's not just Utica.
Well, we know that. And Utica is not the numbers. The city in New York that has more refugees and immigration is New York City. And Syracuse is probably similar, pretty close to where Utica is.
Actually, in terms of percentage of population,
we already gave the percentage of population, Tim. We already did that. You're behind on that. Okay.
Okay, I have something I'd like
yes.
to say, and it's a statement I'd like to make.
Okay.
And I am not here with numbers, but I'm here as a 70-year-old Utican who's lived here all my life.
Yes.
Does anyone remember Barack Obama's impassioned statement and stance that he would not want to see his daughters punished with an unwanted pregnancy? He and his minions scoffed at the idea of anyone being expected to or forced to take care of a life they neither anticipated nor wanted, and thus their war chant, pro-choice. In direct contrast, we Americans, Utica Mohawk Valley citizen taxpayers, find ourselves being expected to and forced to take care of millions of foreign refugee and illegal immigrant families that are neither expected nor wanted. However, we dare not speak up, else we be bombarded with unimaginable slurs, ridicule, and threat. So this is a new America? The fake bleeding hearts speak of the illegals who are in hiding, but in reality, it is the American people who are in hiding. My call, Americans, come out wherever you are, for you will not be alone. In view of the viciousness of the liberal left, the media, and academia, you might quite understandably be afraid. But my invite, hide no more, be fearless. You are American and you are not alone. So if caring for America first, our safety, our security, our military, our defenders, our people, our borders, our sovereignty, our Constitution and our freedoms, our history, and our traditions makes me deplorable, just pin the badge of honor on me because I wear it proudly. The spirit of America, mainstream patriots, welcomes you. More information on this most important American and patriotic group, its events, its purposes, and its agenda will be forthcoming.
Okay.
So listen.
Enough of the statement, please. What is your name, by the way?
Peg Roberts.
Okay, Peg. Now I speak to Trin, who is a junior at Yale, who graduated from Utica. She's a sophomore at Yale. She graduated from Utica. She's an immigrant. She came with her mom. She's now an American. How do you say that to her that we don't want her? Because you just said we don't want them.
We don't want them. We don't want them if we're already burdened. We see our taxes going up.
Say that. Don't say it to me. Say it to her. Tell her we don't
I'm
want her.
I'm literally not a burden. Like, I'm a self-sufficient.
I'm not talking about a particular person. I'm talking about
she's one
an
of the
entire
ones.
group.
No, you're talking about her. You are talking about her.
They're
About me.
Huh?
Just like you talk about me as being un-American because I want my country back.
Did I say that to you? I mean, I feel that I'm nervous about your comments, but I want you to talk to her. She's who you're talking about.
This is for a time for us to get our agenda out. They get theirs out
It
with
doesn't
all
work.
the people.
It doesn't work that way.
I'm a human being. Talk to me.
We're having a conversation here.
Okay.
So what do? No, I'm not done with
Fran,
her. Put the
I
mic
know
back
you
there.
very well, and
Jim,
you
Jim.
know
You know me very well.
we've worked together for a number of years, and I have no problem again with the immigration program, but it's we're at a breaking point in our area. The numbers are extremely too high. We can't even handle what we're doing in our own school districts. We can't even teach our own children in the school
That's
districts.
not true. That is not
the
true, though.
problem.
That's
That is
not
the
true.
problem.
That is the problem.
Well, it's a
Okay.
problem. We're getting sued. Then I'm hearing we're going to get another lawsuit coming. It's rumors, but we're hearing it.
All right, Trin, I want you to respond, and then I'll let you go, and then we've got a break, and we'll come back. But respond to what is being said here. What these, and understandably, they're afraid. They feel that the children that were born here, our children, their grandchildren, are not being taught in the schools. You went through the school district. What's the deal? What's your take on all of this?
All right, so to get things straight, I don't understand why anyone feels like their American lifestyle is taken away. I mean, I just did the math, and like for the 100,000 refugees we settled last year, that comprises 0.03% of the U.S. population. So, like, I don't know, show me where these millions of refugees are, and maybe, like, I'll believe you.
It needs to be spread out across the country.
You know, in fairness,
It is
Trin,
spread out
you have
across
an
the
amazing story, but that's not fair. When you say it's whatever percent of the population, they're saying they're getting a huge percentage, not a huge percentage, a large percentage of the population. So they would be fine if it was spread out against every community had the exact same percentage. They would be fine with that.
And our concern is not so much with individual refugees as with the practices, the resettlement practices of the Mohawk Valley Resource Center for Refugees.
You're upset that they're being they're being settled in Utica and not in Herkimer
and in Utica's poorest neighborhoods, which is not, frankly, as fair to the refugees as if they were being settled in New Hartford, Clinton, Camden, Holland, Patton.
Trin, do you want to comment on that?
It's not realistic. Like, refugees literally, like, they're escaping war and violence. They come here with nothing. Like, it's not realistic for them to afford apartments in, like, New Hartford and Marcy and these, like, suburbs as soon as they get in here. So, that makes no sense to me.
So we dump them in the poorest districts
And you know what happens? We send them to school, and then social mobility is available. My family moved to Marcy, New York. Like, social mobility takes time. That's
Where
part
was
of the
your
American
family
dream.
from?
Vietnam.
My family's from
Vietnam. And then they moved to Utica, but then they moved to Marcy. Look at what has happened. Look at what has happened over in
I understand
in
that,
Cornhill.
Bill, but reality is it is a burden. You can't say it's not. We got sued over it.
Yeah.
I mean, and the
This
school district is
conversation-
hurting.
It cost us
But-
$80,000, and the Utica City School District has laid off
But
cut
that's a different-
365.
Tim, that's a different topic. That
Why is
state
that
aid
different?
that
Yeah.
has been, it
That is
is.
exactly
There's
the topic.
300
There's
to
365 less people working in the school
That's
district
true.
to educate our kids
But there's
today
a-
than there were 5
and it's
years
the only
ago.
school district that
And
is
there's 20
growing. And why is it growing?
That's a good
Because
thing, though.
No,
Not when
is
you
a good
not when
thing.
you eliminate
Okay.
jobs.
All right. I've had enough. I got to break.
Bill,
Can
I
I-
want to just mention one other thing. The Department of State.
Can you listen? Hey. I'm conducting the interview. Please listen to me. I've got a break, and then I'll let you come back and rant. Okay? But when I ask you to stop talking, please just listen and consider that I exist over here. All right? And then I got a break for news. Then you get to come back and talk. I promise. I'll break. Train, you can hang on if you'd like. I'll put you into to Caitlin here. I do have to break.